Hello and welcome. I'm Senator David Carlucci, and today we've got a exciting guest. We're here at our Women of Distinction event in Albany. It's an annual event where we honor women from around the state of New York who have done remarkable things. And we're so fortunate that today we're able to honor Diane Serratore, who's the Executive Director of People to People. And I'm sure many people viewing this know of People to People, maybe have used their services or have volunteered with them. And we're here to talk a little bit about what Diane has got involved in, why she has done that, and really how she's taken People to the place it is today. So with that, I'd like to introduce Diane Serratore of People to People.
Thank you, David, and I really do appreciate very much being nominated for this honor by you. It's truly humbling, so thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you could make it, and it's so fitting that you're able to accept this honor.
Thank you.
And but I wanted to get into it. I mean, I've had the privilege of being able to work with you on so many different issues in Rockland County, and that's what's been really exciting, that you always look at opportunities. And we talk about a food pantry, but it's really become more than that. And now People to People is the largest food pantry in Rockland County. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you wound up there, like what got you into that.
Well, I started out in journalism school, and I got my degree in journalism. But when I finished, I realized I really didn't want to be a reporter. So what to do next? And I decided to utilize my communication skills in the nonprofit arena. I worked at the March of Dimes, the Girl Scouts, the United Way. My community is very, very important to me. And in 2008, the position of Executive Director of People to People opened up. I was asked if I was interested, and I thought about it for about 2 seconds and said, yes, I am, because it's important to me that our community and Rockland community remains a place for everyone. Not just the super wealthy, not just the super needy, but we need a place where working families, working poor, struggling students, and our seniors are able to get the services they need. People to People started through its Santa Project, a gift program for children.
And when was that?
That was about 28 years ago.
Wow, okay.
A bunch of concerned folks in Rockland got together to help struggling parents get their kids holiday gifts. But they began to realize that these folks were also going to have difficulty feeding them. So the People to People food pantry opened up. It started in someone's garage. It ended up moving to a tiny little hole in the wall in Mountain View Avenue in Valley Cottage.
Oh, wow.
And then in 2004, they moved to its current facility in Nanuet. I remember when I walked in there in 2004, because at the time I was with the Girl Scouts, and I said, oh my gosh, this place is gigantic. And then when I went in there in 2008 as the Executive Director of People to People, I said, oh my gosh, this place is too small.
Right, right.
And thanks to you, we've been able to get some state money to make some significant enhancements to the pantry so that we can better serve our clients and also help the smaller pantries do a better job of getting fresh produce to our neighbors in need.
Well, that's what I was excited about with that project, that you came up with an innovative idea of, hey, how do we repurpose the space that we already have and expand the space? So now you're using the same square footage, basically. You're adding a level and an elevator, and basically doubling the size of both your dry storage and your freezer and cold storage ability. And so it's exciting to me to see that it's, we often talk about that we need the resources, but we also have to be resourceful. And I think you really hit the nail on the head on that, and that you're an extremely resourceful person, and you say, hey, well, what are the opportunities that are available to us? What resources can I use? And you focused on that time and time again to say, hey, how can I bring that together and really get all of the fruits from this opportunity?
By increasing our storage capacity, it makes us capable of taking advantage of a lot of programs that are out there. We're very involved in food rescue. This is a big initiative from Feeding America and the regional food banks, but we're able to go to BJ's and Fairway and Target and Walmart and pick up food that otherwise would end up in landfills. Because we now have the freezer and cold storage capacity and an additional warehouse space upstairs, thanks to the elevator that you helped us get. And it's still on its way, but it's going to be there.
That's exciting.
We now are able to store food. We're able to accept food when people want to distribute it.
Right, right. So that was the issue before. It was, hey, we have this stuff, but it's use it or lose it.
Right, and if we can't pick it up, we have no
Right.
place to put it, they have to throw it away.
People calling you, hey, we got all this, but hey, we can't keep it cold, or we
Right.
can't store it. So.
Right. So by increasing our cold storage and our warehouse space, we can now accept a lot more donations. We can work much more closely with the regional food bank because they can bring tractor trailers of food down to us.
Right.
But we have to have a place to put it.
Right,
So with the expansion of the warehouse and the cold storage, we're now going to be able to have that come down from Albany. And then we can also work with the smaller pantries so that they can come to us and pick it up. They don't have to drive to Albany. They don't have to drive to Cornwall where the food bank of the Hudson Valley is. And as you know, most of the smaller pantries are pretty much, they run totally by volunteers. Many of them are older, so it's difficult for them to handle the transportation and the storage and the lifting and the.
Well, that was something important that I really have seen people to people really take a focus on, is that unfortunately now you've been in the role for 9 years. I mean, it flies by, but you could really talk about how you've seen the need for services increase, and also how there's all these other nonprofit organizations that are doing great things, and then they notice, hey, well, we need a pantry maybe to help service our clients, our consumers, but we're saying, hey, let's use the separation of labor and focus in on what we do best, and that's something that you've really been able to help out with.
I started there in 2008, and as you know, in April, and very shortly after that, we were hit by the Great Recession of 2008. And the numbers of folks coming for food really exploded. When I started there, we were helping about 300 to 400 families a month on the average. By the beginning of 2009, we were helping over 1,000 Rockland households. Right now, every month. Right now, nearly 1,500 Rockland households come to people for food. That's over 4,000 people. The one thing we've noticed last year was the first time that the number of children being helped exceeded the number of adults.
Wow.
Right now, 51% of Rocklanders that get help and get food assistance from people to people are kids. And to me, that's distressing.
Right.
Hungry kids can't learn, and that just brings us to a whole lot of other issues. But one of the things that we realize is we're the food pantry. We'll do the food stuff. Right. I got a call a couple of years ago from Joanio, which is an outstanding institution. They wanted to open a food pantry for their clients because some of the clients would come and their staff was buying them peanut butter. And I said, how about this? We'll be your food pantry, and I'm not going to open a school for the developmentally challenged.
Sure.
We need to utilize the services of organizations better. And one of the things that we're really focusing on now that we have this additional space too is we're opening up more conference and meeting areas so that other organizations can come to people and provide assistance to our clients. Right now we've got the County Department of Health comes in every week and does nutrition tips, how to use these items, how to do a better job shopping, what to look for in labels, so that we're creating a more educated consumer from giving them an opportunity to learn more about how to do better with what they have. As we move forward, we're talking to one-to-one learning, Center for Safety and Change, the New Pride Center. They partner with us. And I was talking with Brooke Malloy, the executive director of the Pride Center, and she said, people were asking her, would we open a food pantry? And she said, why would we do that? There's already people to people, and we'll partner. And I think that's the key. It doesn't have to be competition. It has to be collaboration, because we all don't have to be all things to all people. But we do need to work together better to make sure everybody's needs are met.
Right. So now where do you see the future in terms of for food pantries? What are some of the big issues on the horizon and the things that we really have to work on to?
I think one of the things, and you and I have talked about this, it's the whole labeling laws. Applaud to Congresswoman Lowy, who was instrumental in this legislation on the federal level to make sure that companies did put expiration dates on. But unfortunately, I think that got kind of manipulated a little bit, so now it's a selling mechanism. We have to throw a lot of food out because someone is telling us it's expired, when we know it's not. I mean, the FDA, the Department of Agriculture, sent us these little notes saying, it may say this, but it's still good for this, and it's good for this long, and pay no attention to this. Well, if that's the case, then maybe we need to get the labeling laws to say that, because so much food gets thrown away. There's a reason why there's been a 40% increase in the number of food that the pounds of food that gets thrown out, because someone's telling us it's no good.
Right, and that's the thing. I remember we had talked about this. It's like this gray area in terms of, yes, we have to make sure that
Absolutely.
consumers have a good idea of when this product might not be good. But in other cases, it could also be an end on the companies to say, hey, this is expired, throw it out, buy some more,
Right.
when it's a perfectly good product. I mean, I remember I was sharing with you, I have this box of ramen noodles.
Right. I don't think they ever go bad.
Right, like that's going to expire. And it was funny, I saw in there this expiration date that I just kind of, chuckled that this is something that, hey, it's really not. So it's this black and white that we try to put on everything that sometimes is
And
harmful.
the thing is, it's the manufacturer that decides the expiration date. I mean, I don't think it's based on any science,
Right,
really.
right.
Or maybe it is. I don't want to
Well,
get
at
anybody
least,
mad at me, but
and that's where we were trying to find out that, yeah, this is recommended by the manufacturer. And yeah, exactly. Where does that lead
sell
to?
by, best by, use
Right.
by, throw out by. It's confusing. And, we do get expired food, and we're told, that, oh, it's okay to give it out. But, if we give out expired food, our clients will go home, take the stuff out, and call me and say, why did we get it? It's expired.
Right.
If you wouldn't eat it yourself, how can I give it to someone else? I understand. Some people say, well, people should just be grateful for whatever they can get. I don't think they should get expired food, because I wouldn't feed it to my family and you wouldn't feed it to yours. So to expect our struggling neighbors to do the same because they should be grateful for anything kind of is not a philosophy I can live by.
Absolutely. No, I can appreciate that. Now, if someone wants to help the food pantry, what are some of the best ways that people can help?
Volunteering. We always need volunteers. Very honestly, we are working on a movement now to try to encourage fundraisers as opposed to food drives.
Right.
Simply because people to people can purchase a lot more food from the food bank than if you were to go to a supermarket. If you go to a food drive at a supermarket and say you buy a box of spaghetti, it's $1. We can buy 5 boxes of spaghetti if we go to the food pantry. So we're working with the Nanuet Chamber of Commerce and try to educate folks. Of course, we appreciate all this, the civic organizations do to us, do for us.
Sure.
The Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Rotaries, the Lions Clubs, they all do food collections for us, and we greatly appreciate it. But we need to start to think about how to do this smarter.
Right.
We've got the Stamp Out Hunger activity coming up this weekend on Saturday, and folks are encouraged to put some canned goods and non-perishable items by their mailbox.
Right.
The letter carriers pick it up, and then we deploy different pantries and people to go out on Monday to pick the food up. About 30% of the food that gets donated to that, unfortunately, is expired, because people, out of the kindness of their hearts, they think about it on Friday night and think, oh, so they go through their cabinets.
Right.
And sometimes it's expired.
Sure.
And sometimes it's little jars of chutney that I really can't use,
Yeah,
but we're
right.
very grateful.
Yes.
But it's rethinking how people support the pantry. Food drives are great, volunteers are great, but at the end of the day, even a small financial contribution will go much further because we have better buying power.
Right. I remember you sharing that with me. The other issue I remember we talked about is with the food banks, that really prioritizing healthier products.
Right.
And that we could somehow incentivize the food pantries to get a better bang for their buck when they're buying something that we know is much more nutritious.
Which is why I'm incredibly grateful that and I don't know the official title, but the donating produce from
Yes.
farms bill went through, because that's incredible. Other manufacturers of non-perishables get a tax break for donating unused
Right.
Inventory. But the farmers were not, so they were just letting stuff rot.
Now, do you think that one of the questions I had with that, do you think that'll help us in Rockland County, given that we don't have too many farms left, unfortunately?
No, but the issue too is, because we're part of a regional system,
Right.
the produce that goes to the Albany Food Bank and the produce that goes to the Cornwall Food Bank can benefit us. So we're like partner agencies with them. So there's a lot more farms up by here, and there's a lot more farms in other parts of the Hudson Valley. So we're hoping that will benefit and will go to the food banks
Right.
in those areas, because we're partners with them and we can access that then.
Well, we're out of time. but I just wanted to thank you so much. We're with Diane Serratore from People to People, our Woman of Distinction. Really puts the rock in Rockland County. I thank you for your leadership and
You
your
put the
commitment.
rock in Rockland County. So
Thank you. Your commitment to our community. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much.